Second doctor with cancer, he told me your healing was due to your training because of your Taekwondo.
Wow.
Because I told him this is what happened and this is how he goes, oh yeah, that's exactly the reason why you healed so fast. So I'm grateful that I had Taekwondo in my life because I might not be sitting here talking to you right now.
You know, for myself, it's inspirational for me. It should be inspirational for anyone. No matter what we go through in life, it cannot deter our passion. We have to do what we love, and we have to do it surrounded by the right people.
If you believe in your heart of hearts, that you're going to do something and you can, that you know you can do it, then do it.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of A Black Belt Way of Life. I'm your host, Master Joseph Lupo Jr. And on today's episode, I am joined by my Taekwondo fratello. If you don't know what fratello means, go get the Italian. That's what I'm talking about right there. My brother from another mother, my main man, Cy Zamani, coming to us from what part of Texas are you in, bro?
I'm in Georgetown, Texas.
Georgetown, Texas. But you're not originally from Texas.
Nope.
Man, you're an original East Coast guy, made your way out west.
OG, baby.
Yeah,
Queens,
right?
Flushing Meadows, Queens, New York, born.
That's why me and you were so close, man. Born
where all the greats came from.
Right.
You guys casted me out somewhere.
So then you went out west, and now you're residing with your beautiful family in Georgetown, Texas.
Sir.
You know, for those who don't know, I had the pleasure and the honor of being a teammate of this man back in 2019 at the first USA Masters team event, the European Masters.
And where?
And in Korea.
Before that. In where?
Oh man, you're getting me right now.
Italy, Italy, baby.
That's right,
Italy,
baby.
man. Yeah,
that's right, man. It was great stuff, great times.
That
Me and you, we
time.
clicked really quick, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like minds stick together, you know.
That's right.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
It's my pleasure to have you here tonight. But
appreciate you.
Before we get into it, a word from our sponsor, Mr. Joseph Ferrone of Weichert Realty. This episode of A Black Belt Way of Life is brought to you by Mr. Joseph Ferrone of Weichert Realty. For all your real estate needs, both commercial and residential, don't hesitate to reach out to Mr. Joseph Ferrone. All his information is in the show notes. Also, a shout out to our official apparel company, Best Martial Arts Muto USA. For all your martial arts needs, check them out, follow them, Best Martial Arts Muto USA. And also a quick shout out to our guys here at KickFit, this awesome looking shoe right here. Promo code BBWOL at checkout for a nice discount. Again, that promo code BBWOL, KickFit. Look good, feel good, kick good. That's what I'm talking about right there.
That's right.
My man, Cy.
Yes, sir.
Let's get.
By the way, shout out to James Kim. Long time. Best martial arts from the very beginnings, man.
Right.
He's always been good. He's very good.
All good stuff.
Amazing guy.
Listen, I'm in New York and I get his stuff from California.
He's amazing.
It's worth the shipping is worth every penny.
He's an incredible guy.
Great
amazing
quality
guy.
Stuff.
Long time brother.
My man Cy.
Yes, sir.
Let's get this party started. You know, over here at A Black Belt Way of Life, we're all about the journey. You know, we're all about inspiring our audience. And you have such an amazing story that I really, really want to get into it tonight. But let's bring it back to the beginning, because all the guests that I have on, you know, we talk about inspirations and what started. You know, what was the precipice of this journey that we're on, this amazing martial arts journey? Where did your inspiration come from? Where did your start?
So I had my uncle.
Wait, aspetta, before we continue, my man.
Oh.
Salud.
Salud to my brother.
That's it. Now we get started.
Wait, the pinky.
My man did his homework on the podcast. That's what I'm talking
I
about.
love you, brother. I love you, man. You know I'm ready for you.
There you go.
Always. So my uncle used to train. I was probably, I want to say maybe 7. We used to go to the movies, Bruce Lee movies.
Right.
And everybody comes out and everybody's fighting like they're Bruce Lee, right? And my uncle and I would go on the grass field over there in front of my grandpa's house, and we just, do whatever we thought was martial arts.
Right.
And then later I met my cousins, which was 3 brothers, which is the history that's important for New Jersey, especially, is the Benny brothers, Big Ben, Middle Ben, Little Ben.
Oh,
right?
wow.
Actually, as a matter of fact, Little Benny fought at the same places that Mark Williams and all those guys were fighting in back in the day in the American, I believe it was American Open, right?
Yeah. All American Open, sure.
So they were when I saw these guys, they were not big in stature, but my goodness, man, they all had these aspects of martial arts. I just thought to myself, I have to, once I was around them, I said, I have to do this. I have to. And as a matter of fact, there was a point where I couldn't get out of it. They would put the gloves on, throw me the headgear. He goes, you got to get up. I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. Boom. I say, you got to get up. No, boom, And then,
right.
And of course, I spar around with them a little bit. They let me get close like I was going to hit him, get the little dizzy eyes and stuff. But it really inspired me to, and I saw them do some stuff. They were really humble, never really started anything with anybody, but they were dressed nice, they looked nice. They were always, those days they were trying to meet women and stuff like that and their age.
Mm-hmm.
And guys would start with them. You know how it is in New Jersey, New York.
Right.
And man, I tell you, I witnessed some stuff. I don't even want to really repeat it on this podcast, but I knew that I had to follow that. And I went back as a teenager again, trained with them a little bit, and went into football. That's kind of where my discipline came through. I played every sport: baseball, football, basketball. I even played soccer one year, believe it or not. I was a ball boy for my uncle. And I got to the pro tryout levels, and I was just, 2 out of 3 of us were together, high school and college. 2 of the guys made it to the NFL. One's a legend in the NFL circle, and Eric Kramer and Jeff Marklin, shout out to them. Okay. And I got to the point, I never thought I would leave football. I just knew that financially it was tough for me. They had a lot of support. I really didn't have quite the support they did. And so I knew I needed to do something. So one of my buddies, which lived in Connecticut at the same time, we met in California, and we got together.
So at this point, you already made your move out west?
Yes. I was about 12, 13. Yeah, about middle school. And my buddy and I met, which is one of my best friends, besides you, of course. And we happened to grow up in Connecticut at the same time. We just didn't know each other. We met here. And he used to train at Jun Chang School, which was where J.J. Perry and Lauren Avedon and all those guys were there. And, of course, Phil Labrie.
That was in Los Angeles, correct?
Yes, sir. And it was Phil Labrie was his main teacher. Oh, hold on. Don't go out without me. Can't do that without me. So we started I went over there. He invited me over there. I went and trained a couple of times, and then we said, okay, let's train together. It was kind of, he moved and we were working together, so we started training together. We started doing Taekwondo, kickboxing. First we started with kickboxing, Taekwondo. I mean, we would do rounds and rounds and hours just training and training. We did an expo, Pasadena Expo, martial arts expo. We did a demonstration there with a lot of the really high-level masters. And somehow or another, we pulled it off, came out pretty good, and we just like, hey, we need to find a real master. People were saying how great we were, how good we were, and lo and behold, we went to the school, and they said that they're going to bring this master over there, and when we met him, we didn't even know that was him. And man, let me just put this in a nutshell. This man was the Vince Lombardi of Taekwondo, let's put it that way.
Really?
Man, let me tell you, he knew. He put us, we said, look, we want to start with white belt again. We're going to start white belt. We don't care about the belts. We want to learn, right? Man, he broke us down and really just had us kicking, and we're doing all these spin kicks and all these white belts. Are like, wow. And he goes, okay. So he showed us the true techniques of how to, break us down, get the foundation in there. And I think the second tournament I walked into, I beat all actually, as a matter of fact, my coach's students, they were, winning a lot. Very, very technical. They were doing all kinds of spinning with 2-3 techniques. Shoved me in there, and I won first place against these people I used to watch. So
right.
And I just
so now around what year are we talking right now?
It was about 19. Oh, I'll take it back. I'm sorry. I started out with my uncle's school at the person. His name was Grandmaster Tiger Yang.
Okay.
He had a place called Moyado. It was a blend of different things, but he had Taekwondo kicking and Kung Fu and things like that. And it was the first formal school I was in. So I got to learn, and they were very disciplined. So I got to learn, the etiquette of schools, and it was all about respect. And it was perfect for me for the intro, which then led me to this other person I was talking about. And so, and that was it after, very short time. He was all about quality over quantity.
Sure.
And all about the technique. And we were doing, I was very high off the ground when I started. And he goes, you're gonna need to do splits if you're gonna do this. Yeah. With my big legs, I was squatting 600 pounds. Yeah, good luck. So anyway, we got there, and and I'm just gonna jump from 1993, started competing about 1994, I got my black belt, Kukiwan black belt. We already had a school. We were already teaching at that point. Being a black belt with him was like, you're an instructor already, basically.
Sure.
And so we had a team of students sparring, the whole thing. And then by 1995, I went to my first international tournament, which was Pan Am Open.
Okay.
So I walk into this tournament. There's probably 30 rings. And, I'm winning regionally, right? I won a few medals before this, got first place, and then finally got to the black belt level. And I was red belt. Okay, put on the black belt, go fight, That was kind of the deal. We didn't go the other way.
Exactly.
And I walked in, and the medics used to have whistles, right? So if someone got knocked out, they'd whistle because it was so far away. They want to make sure that they can hear it,
Right.
So I walk into this place. I'm looking at this grand, tournament. Wow, right? We're always on gym floors. Had the mats, the whole thing, right? The blue and yellow mats. You remember those? And all I keep hearing is whistles everywhere. And I see this guy in a chair. He's going like this, and they're putting smelling salts. I'm like, am I going to get knocked out this place? That's the first thing I thought,
Yeah, well, you know what? That was the old school.
That was the high risk, high reward,
Exactly, where, at a time when, and I don't like getting into this kind of conversation because I have respect for all athletes today and all athletes of yesteryear, but, back then it was more of a power game for sure.
Oh yeah.
The trembling shock era, today you could touch an opponent and win. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of skill behind it. There's a lot of movement behind it. Some phenomenal athletic athletes that I'm sure if you brought them back in the day, they would do well as well. But it was a different game.
Absolutely.
It was a different game. But back then, you're 100% right. It was all about trembling shock. It was all about power. It was a fight, and it felt like a fight, and it looked like a fight.
Very, very passionate fights. It was great. I remember one tournament was Mexico versus like Argentina, or Brazil versus, any of those South American teams. And, you get the lighter weight guys, man, you're just watching like, wow. It was exciting. As a matter of fact, going back to 1993, the World Championships, they had 3 fights on ABC, believe it or not.
Yeah, I was there.
Remember that?
I went to go
Square,
watch
right?
Madison Square Garden.
And I'll tell you, I watched Hyun Lee. I watched
California guy.
I watched Victor Strada and Mikel Malul in my division, the middleweight division. That was the last fight, and a Korean girl in Mexico which was a little bit lopsided. It wasn't,
Yeah.
you know, there was some controversy. But anyway, I remember watching that, and after that, I was hooked. I'm like, okay, I want to do this. I'm going to do it full fledged, right? And so it just happened to be at the time I got into it. So by 1995, I went to this tournament, and by 96, started going to the U.S. Open. And that was the big thing for me because I was like going to World Championships. Basically, back then, that was the same teams.
The top Open in the world.
There'd be 800 people there, but man, there was not one slouch, you know, not one, you know, and big event. You go in there, it's like opening ceremonies. They'd have the military would be there. They'd have a dance. It was a whole day. A master would do this amazing, you know, breaking demonstration and stuff. It was surreal, you know, and so I knew that okay, this is it. This is what I'm looking for. This competition, you know. And
so now you're immersed in the competition world.
Absolutely.
You know, you're already finding your footing. You know, you're going to events. Where did your break happen that you really took it to, let's say, another level?
Okay, so when I went to 96, so I won a bunch of tournaments regionally, right? Got gold at black belt tournaments and stuff, and then I went to when I went to that tournament, I got a taste of the international competition, and by 96, I fought a pretty good competitor. I lost, but I you know, it was a good experience for me.
Sure.
And then the next year, and I'm just skipping a bunch because there's so many in between.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
And then 97. I went back. I fought the bronze medalist from World Championships. But I didn't know. I would just fight. You know, I just fight whoever was in front of me.
Exactly.
He ended up winning. You know, the tournament, and you know, I was working so hard at it that I thought, man, I lost. You know, and I remember the guy coming up to me, and I said, yeah. I go, you know, I was like really like, oh yeah, good job. You know, he goes, he looks at me, he goes, why are you? He was from Belgium, I think. He looked like the Drago guy, you know. He was very, very straight. Yeah. He goes, what are you upset about? He goes, I'm the bronze medalist from the World Championships. He goes, you gave me the best defense out of anybody today. And I'm like, whoa, okay, all right. I guess sometimes I won't quit now.
Sometimes we need that little bit of confidence, you know.
It meant a lot to me, you know, especially that he beat all our guys. I mean, there's not one guy that, you know, he was on the podium with his gold medal. So, then the next year I didn't go. I don't remember why. And by 1999, that's when that was probably the year where just, you know, it was kind of like I lost first round. I'm like, I don't know what, you know, what's going on. Am I really, you know, people were telling me, what are you doing this for? You know, and finally the sprockets just lined up, man. I just went to US Open. I got to the finals of US Open. I fought the best guys. He was a World Cup champion or medalist. It was pure Australian team. It was right before the Olympics. So they had their whole team. Actually, the semifinals was the final because the second place guy was also from Australia. He'd already got hurt. So it was either bronze or gold. What a crappy thing that was. So,
right.
I hung with them the whole way. The great thing I liked about that day is Jimmy Kim was there with me, Grandmaster Jimmy Kim, God rest his soul.
God rest his soul.
And he kind of followed me throughout the day. He gave me some powder to take before. He kept giving me advice, and he just, you know, he was a really big catalyst for that day as far as my emotions. Before that, I did skip something when I went to JJ's. Oh, this is before I went to the major tournaments. Lauren Avedon, which was my uncle, had a school together with him. He was very, very instrumental in, you know, talking to me. Hey, I know you're loyal to your master, but if you want to go to these tournaments, because, you know, you can see the disappointment. He goes, you got to go to JJ's school, JJ Perry's school. JJ Perry used to have Wednesday night fight nights, which was better than any tournament you could ever imagine. All the amazing people from all over the world would come in there. And once I trained with him, he was really that kicker that got me like, okay. And we went to the tournament as a team, and we just wiped it. And I was the last guy. And he told me, he goes, you were the best guy today. And for him to say that in his school to me, I was like, okay, I'm ready. I'm going to go to wherever length. You know, I fight a lot of good people at his school. And so then Joseph and Gergely Salim came there because JJ was going to the movies. And then they started to coach me. and train me. And about a year later, I wasn't within 1998-ish. By the next year, actually Joseph was fighting there too. He won that tournament, and I got bronze at that tournament. And I think it's all those culminations of all those great people. But I mean, like you said, it's always a village, right? I had a huge village. Forget about all the guys coming up to me beforehand, giving me advice. Guys that I would imagine would talk to me, Jojo from Jojo Stegan to, I can make a list of people, all were amazing back then as far as that goes. Always supportive, always great,
Yeah.
And also Peter B's father, he used to always come on my ring and watch my fights, and he'd give me advice sometimes. It was like, his son was one of the best fighters in the country, and for him to do that meant something to me. I don't know if he saw something in me or he was just supportive. I don't know, but I was very blessed to be around those people. So anyway, I got to 1999, got to the finals. They used to put the medalists on the mat together. I was there with Daniel Trenton and all these other, eventual gold medalists and stuff. They're congratulating me. I thought, okay, I belong here. I deserve it. I'm here.
But for you to get to that level, we talk about this all the time, and I emphasize this to my students. I even emphasize this to my son who plays soccer. We learn more from losing than we do from winning. In order to be a good winner, you have to know how to lose, and you have to know how to overcome that.
Michael Jordan, baby.
Yeah. For sure.
One of the things I didn't mention too is all those tournaments I lost right before. I'm going to U.S. Open. My father gets diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. He's in the hospital. Not yet, but we knew that he had some type of cancer. He's in the hospital. I go to visit him, and I said, yeah, I'm going to U.S. Open, Dad, whatever, in Colorado Springs. It was in the Olympic Training Center. I said, okay. No, actually, sorry. It was in Anaheim. And I said, I'm going to go win you a medal, Dad. That's what I told him. And I walked out of the room, and I said, what did I just do? Really, I haven't even got past the first round, And I'll tell you, man, between just all the support with Jimmy and everything, the way, God had a hand in this for sure. I didn't get scored on to the final. I didn't get scored on. So I took a lot of pride in defense, not giving up points and making sure I capitalized on those opportunities, And that was a detriment to from my Grandmaster Younghan Ju, his name was, and he's still in Korea, and now, and all those people that I mentioned, and a bunch more, There was another guy, Mihai, we call him Master V, Mihai Valeriu. He's my good friend. We fought in a black belt final together years ago, and then we became friends, and he coached me later on too. So I have a lot of good friends and support throughout the years. But anyway, after in 99, that's one of my best years. At the same time, I brought the medal to my dad. And I know that means a lot to you as far as
of course
our fathers, right? When you talk about your dad, right away, I relate to it because it reminds me of my dad,
Sure.
And how great he was. And, he was such an inspiration in my life, right? So I took this medal there, and he looked and he goes, you really did do something like you really did something big. He didn't really take it. He knew I was in sports, and he knows I loved it because, by the way, my family has a slew of athletes, national level gymnasts through volleyball players, through soccer players and boxers. So if you were an athlete in my family, oh my goodness, you're something wrong with you, right?
Right.
So anyway, I won that tournament, or I got to the finals, and then I went to Olympic trials. That was one of the most amazing tournaments I've ever seen. There was about 50 people there, and man, there was focus on every fight. It was I just remember thinking, wow, this is incredible. Just as a spectator, it was amazing,
Sure.
And I fought one of the U.S. OTC guys. I think it was Nick Turgenak, and David Kahn was coaching him, which, again, later in the future, he ended up coaching me. It's so funny because all my rivals and people I fought with, they all ended up either coaching me or,
Yeah.
being on my
But
team.
you know
So
what but you know what, that's something I talk about. That's a beautiful thing. We're
it's the best.
we're in there fighting each other,
Mhm.
but it's the camaraderie, it's the respect of the art, it's the respect towards each other,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
your opponent could become your best friend.
Oh yeah. Well, Mihai was
And
a detriment to that,
yeah, and that's the beauty about what we do.
Right. Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know,
The in '99. Yeah, there was 4 tournaments. It was Olympic trials, Pan Am Open. Oh, I came back from Olympic trials, and I just got home. I was so exhausted. That was in Colorado Springs, and
Mhm.
my mom calls me, "Hey, you need to come over here. Like, you need to come see your dad."
Yeah.
And I went and saw him, and he wasn't he hadn't talked for like 2 weeks, and I started talking to him.
Oh,
He started responding to me, and I said, "Hey, I'm gonna be here for mom. Like, don't worry, Dad. Like, I got you. 6 in the morning next day, my mom calls. He passed away, but he literally waited for me,
wow.
which is that's a tough one for me. So,
Hmm.
but I'm so glad I did that for him, and he got to see that, and my daughter, my last kid, was a month and a half, about a month left before she was born. She kept asking my wife, "Hey, you gonna have the baby yet? You gonna have the baby yet?" And she goes, "Oh, it's almost there. Hang in there." But he never got to see her.
Hmm.
It did help with the grieving part because we only had a month
Sure.
to, I already had the baby. You got to focus on the kid. She
Listen,
helped us get through that.
I talk about it all the time. When we go through things like that, I've said it on the podcast. I've said it many times to my friends, to my family. It's a reality of life that the clock keeps ticking,
Yeah,
and it takes a strong individual to keep moving forward, because it's not going to wait for us.
no,
It's
yeah,
it's a horrible situation, but we can't stay there. We have to
yeah.
keep moving.
That's why when I come out there, I don't go, "Oh, should I go?" I just, "Hey, we're gonna go. Hey, Joe,
Hmm.
I'm coming." Right? My
Hmm.
uncle, "Hey, I'm coming. We're gonna go to these 4 states and like 11 places in a week. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And they're like, "Why don't you stay longer?" "Sorry, I gotta go to the." That's just the way I do things now because of that.
Hmm.
And so I went to Pan Am. I got bronze at Pan Am that year, the Pan Am Open. Oh, and I went to nationals. I fought the same guy I beat in the semifinals. He was apparently second in trials or something, and the point system was kind of a little wonky then, right? Because
Hmm.
I can throw a back kick and score 1 point. He can throw a
Yeah.
roundhouse and fall down, and score one.
Yes.
So I think I ended up losing 2-1. But there was some suspect points, and I'm not talking about sour grapes. There's a few tournaments, many quarterfinals. I,
Sure.
I was winning, and all of a sudden 5 points at the end, I'm ahead, and I lost by a point. It happened, and I accepted it. I just was happy I was in that level. I knew that
Hmm.
I focused more on performance, and I always tell my students and the people I coach, I tell them all the time, even people, I'm always in their ear, even the young guys that are at a high level. Hey, don't worry about the results. This is something my coach, God bless him, his name was Jim Fenwick from Pierce College. We had the #1 school in the nation. Those 2 other guys from the NFL, we were all together on that team. We're undefeated, and it hasn't been repeated since. We're all 3 of us put in the Hall of Fame together at that
Hmm.
school. And he told us, he goes, we were like 8-0. All this media was going. He goes, listen. He gathers. He goes, listen. Just focus on what we're doing. All that stuff will take care of itself. I'll never forget that. And that's exactly the way I do it in Taekwondo. I just put the performance in. I got MVP at the Pan Am Open with the Cuda team when I was on the U.S. team with Cuda, and I lost. I fought Carlos Sansoris, actually. I didn't even know who he was. He was a national champion in Mexico. I've never got so much love for losing in my life. I mean, everybody was
Wow.
going, and I got MVP for the team.
Oh, wow.
And this is like when I was, 50 years old. I was fighting
Right. Right.
20-year olds,
Yeah, because what I want the audience to understand is, a lot of us, when we came out towards the USA Masters team, a lot of us had stopped competing for a period of time.
Yeah.
You, however, you were still competing. You were still, yeah. You were banging with the 18 to 32 year olds.
For a while, yeah.
Yeah.
And there was, the master's level wasn't there yet. I started
Mm-hmm.
to do both. I felt like if I was gonna leave my family, cost me all this money and all this, I want to get as much out of it as I can. I'm going to fight as much as I can. That wasn't about the medals for me. It was more like, hey, I need to get as many ring hours as possible in this moment that I'm taking money and food off, our table to go do this, because
To
there's a
pursue your
point.
passion. To pursue your
Absolutely.
passion at the end
And
of the day. Yeah.
and let me tell you, you're married, you know how it is. It's like, what? You're gonna we need this and that. You're gonna go to this tournament, Of course,
Mm-hmm.
now she understands and appreciates it, But yeah, anyway, '99 was a good year and a bittersweet year for me. After the Nationals in Daytona, I was there. Scott Fuji's another guy that we suggest. Scott Fuji was Tim Thackeray and Luis Reyes and his brother
Mm-hmm.
Danny, and Simona, and all these people were training there, and I used to train with them too. So like I said, there's so many. It's like I got to go back into the memory banks to really remember. Like, wow, I don't think there's not that many people that I haven't either trained with or known or had some ties to. After Daytona, he coached me at Daytona, and around Christmas time, my daughter that was born after my dad passed away ended up passing away. She ended
Yeah.
up, tragically, around Christmas time, passed away. So the same year, I had two pretty big losses. I mean, amazing, like huge losses. Amazing that I was able to. Really, the hand of God has helped us. I believe in God, and we have gotten much closer to God through those experiences. She really was a true angel and brought us to the
Mm-hmm.
Lord, really, because without that at that time, I don't know where we would be.
Yeah, you basically took my next question. You've gone through loss, you've gone through tragic experiences, and how are you able to? You just brought up your faith in God. What else brought you forward, kept you going? How did the martial arts play into that? Because
Right.
you have to be a strong person, a strong individual, not just for the loss of your father, but the loss of your child. How did that all play into you rising above it?
After that happened, this was the time where I finally go, okay, because we're talking. I was doing tournament after tournament after tournament, train, and I had the studio too, and the team. So I was wearing thin. I had my own business, not counting the school, and that's when I said, okay, I have to focus on my family right now. So I didn't compete for that year and a half, 2 years. I kept training with my friend and stuff, but um, I don't know. I think just because of the whole stress and the cortisol, I just gained a bunch of weight. I've never gotten heavy like that. Probably gained about, gosh, I got to 255. I was the middleweight. I was 185
Wow.
those days, and I probably walk about 190 max. And um, I remember I started to get sick. I wasn't sleeping very much. Started getting anxiety. I didn't even know what anxiety was. One day I just went to the hospital and they're like, "You're having anxiety." I go, "What is that?" I had no clue what that
Mhm.
is. And I said, "Well, how long is this going to last?" They're like, "Well, I have patients for like a year." I
Mhm.
go, "A year? I can't go. I cannot do this. Here, take this pill." And you're gonna, and I wasn't all about that. So finally, I had this acupuncturist my uncle used to go to. I went to him. I told him what happened to me. I was having a lot of issues with that, and he's treating me for like. Do you listen to me? To about 2 hours. By the way, if anybody ever runs into something like that, if you get a really original, true acupuncturist, man, in 2 hours, I never got that again.
I know.
And
I had one of my guests on my podcast. My student is Daryl Thorough, an acupuncturist. Shout out to Miss Daryl.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's the gold. That's gold.
Hmm.
And so after that, just to answer your question, so Master Chun used to have a U.S. Taekwondo Center, training center in Diamond Bar, California, where all most of the U.S. team members would train, and all the David Kong was there, a bunch of people were there, and my friend Mihai was also training there. And I said, yeah. He goes, yeah. Where you been? I said, why don't you come down there and train? Like, oh my gosh, look at me, I can't even move. All right, I'll go. So and I'm always like that. I'm like from zero to hero right away, right? Okay, I'll go to
Hmm.
the hardest place. So I went to Master Chun, sir. You know, my master Ju told me that, about you, and he said, yeah. He goes, he didn't even hesitate. He goes, yeah, just come in there. Started training with David and those guys, and I trained that first day, and I'm telling you, I fell on the floor on my knees, and I knelt down, and I said, oh my gosh, this is what I've been missing. This is why I feel like this. My body cannot function properly without exercise, especially Taekwondo. It just helps me. It's a health thing, basically, for me. So that's when I knew. I said, okay, I cannot stop again, I cannot have this level of training. I just can't not do that again. So I went ahead and started training. And there were, of course, what's next? U.S. Open in Vegas. All right, I guess I'm going to be a heavyweight, and cool. I don't have to cut weight. I don't have to. I can eat. I can eat and fight. Right. I'm going to be faster than those guys. Right. I'm going to be quicker, and I'm going to be able to outmaneuver. Right. So I think I was by first round. I get second round. I mean, there's guys. Okay, I'm going to weigh-ins. This guy was from, I think, Norway, one of those places, dude. This guy's belly button was at my face level. I mean, I was like, he's like 6'9" or something, huge guy, right? I'm like, okay, whatever. That's what I train for, right? So who do I get as an opponent? 187.
Oh, wow.
So this I'm outweighing him like 60, 70 pounds, trying to move around. So anyway, Scott Fuji was coaching me. I was wearing the same chest guard too, right? And granted, I hadn't fought in a long time. I did okay, I did okay, but I didn't win, obviously, but I did okay for not fighting for so long and being that heavy.
But listen, but you got to look at it this way: just to get out there is an accomplishment within itself. After everything you passed,
it really was. It just felt good. It just felt good to be back. And afterwards, I just kind of put my head down. I lost, and I was like just taking it in, and I just heard a bunch of applause around my ring, and I'm like, and then I saw some of the people I know, and I guess I didn't put two and two together right away, but then I realized that these are all my peers, and they're watching me fight, and they're actually, in it with me, like, hey, they knew what I was doing, they knew what happened. I didn't think anything of it because I was in my own fog for so long, and that inspired me a lot. And I came to the sideline. Scott Fuji, gives me a hug. He goes, do me a favor. Can you wear a chest guard that it's your size next time? I mean, the thing looked like a bra. I kept pulling it down, kept going. Right. When I had those little, anyway. So yeah, I got super inspired. I went back to my friend Mihai's studio. Hey man, can you coach me? He wasn't fighting anymore. Can you start coaching me since you're coaching other fighters? Who used to train there was Chase Graham. There was Gary. You met Gary, the one Gary Manukian that was at the tournament. There was another guy, Gabriel Martinez. There was a few good teammates that were there, that were young, and so yeah, went back, started training with the young guns again. And I said, okay, if I'm going to do this, I have to lose the weight. I have to get back down to middleweight. So by the next nationals, I got down, brother, 185. And Mihai was looking at me like, I can't believe. He was literally at Colorado Springs with me going, he kept saying, I can't believe you. I said, hey, man, you know how So he got inspired to start fighting him because of that. He goes, you keep making me, because he's younger than I am, Which is good. I love that. I love hearing when people say, hey, you made me have to go back. You made me. I remember Wayne Rosa said that in Italy. Hey, I saw this guy do it. I want to do it. All these guys wanted to do it because, hey, I saw him do it. I want to do it. He can do it. I can do it, right? I love
we
that.
Inspire
that's
each
everything.
Other. We inspire each other, and
exactly.
And that's what builds that's what makes our community so strong, again, like-minded individuals.
Absolutely.
And so now let's fast forward a little bit.
Sure.
Now we're moving along your career, we're moving along your journey. And this is a very, very, very important part of this podcast now.
Sure.
We talk about the ups, the downs. Right. Now you get approached with another down, so to say, that you have to overcome. I want you to talk to the audience right now about your health and what you had to pass in regards of, I know everyone hates to hear the word, but
Sure.
it's real life stuff, cancer.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am a cancer, by the way, too, just so you know.
There you go.
And I don't mean that in a little sense. It's my sign. But anyway, so after quite a few years, after, let's say, 04 to 2000, probably 10, 11 years of on and off fighting and competing and all that stuff, I was at work one day. I had this tiny little thing on my shoulder. It looked like a pinpoint. And my wife, I kept getting a little bigger. My wife said, hey, you got to go get this, removed. You got to go to check. So finally I went. It was like the size of a eraser head,
Mm-hmm.
They biopsied it. And I'm at work. Really bad move by the doctor, but, I guess that's what I'm built for. He calls and goes, oh, yeah, you got cancer. I'm like, what?
Oh, wow.
Just like that. I'm like, so I'm sitting in the office by myself, I'm like, okay, what does that mean? What is it? What kind is it? He goes, a very rare form of cancer. It's 1 out of 1 million people get it. Right?
Right.
I'm 1 in 1 million. That's what my wife told me. So, and it's a very slow growing thing. It's a sarcoma. And we just have to set up for you to get it removed. So, through going to some other doctors and getting some disappointments with some of the doctors that want to cut half my back out, I went and found out about Mohs surgery from the Mayo Clinic, actually, and they gave me a suggestion, and I went. Mohs surgery is basically for the neck up, and what they do is it's because they don't want to be so invasive, they take parts at a time, biopsy it, parts at a time, biopsy it till they get all the margins clear, and the recurrence is almost nil, right? So I went, met this doctor. He happened to be from Connecticut. It was a blessing. He goes, don't worry, man. Don't worry about what the doctor said. You're going to be fine. And about 9 hours in, because they got to keep doing it. Go to breakfast, come back with the family, go to lunch, come back. Mm-hmm. They removed it. And before that happened, I went to a qualifier. I fought, went to the surgery. I think 4 or 6 weeks later, I was back on the mat. Continue what I left off,
Yeah, that's so important. We don't stop. We don't let anything get in our way.
Yeah.
Even that.
I need that.
So many other people would have just, taken that back seat and say, all right, I'm done. But you kept going.
No, sir. And that was the first bout I had.
Mm-hmm.
Second bout was, more recent, of course. And
yes.
That one was, I had a friend that was a pancreatic specialist, one of 2 in LA. That was one of the top guys. He goes, listen, your dad had pancreatic cancer. I want to do all these panel tests to make sure we're ahead of the game in case anything's there. Well, so I spent about a year doing testing, genetics testing. He tested every solitary test you can imagine, scans and all kinds of stuff, right? And everything came out clear. He goes, you don't even have markers, even though your family has cancer. You have no genetic markers for cancer. You just have it's all environmental. Okay? The one you had before. And they say you have a little 9 millimeter nodule on your thyroid. And normally that's nothing. The first doctor was like, oh, no. And my wife's like, no. She was in the medical field. She goes, no, you need to get, So, okay, let's go get the needle. They put the needle, did the bio, they said there's a suspicion that there might be something there. So they took half the thyroid out. And they were going to biopsy it. And if it's there, then they would go take the other half out. So they took that out. Unfortunately, the next day, it turned into a hematoma. I don't know if you know what that is, but basically your throat's just going like this. And I can't even swallow. I'm choking on my own. I had to go back next day, emergency surgery open again, clear it all out. And then 7 weeks later, they did see that there was papillary cancer cells in there and had gone to my lymph nodes. He cleared that all out before he closed me up. And he says, come back in 7 weeks. Let's let the trauma heal. And so when they took the other half out, everything was clear. And I've already done the 5-year follow-ups before. So the same thing, follow up, medicine, do the adjustments and things like that. And it's been a little tougher this time because, the move and, of course, some of my injuries, are and I could just jump on a treadmill or kick and lose the weight. It's a little tougher, but it's not going to stop me, and you know that.
And that's
And
the
you know
beauty.
this, buddy.
For sure. I mean, right after all this, we're together in Korea.
Right. I mean, I could barely walk there. The people were like, "Oh, poor guy. Let's help him with the suitcase." They're seeing me limp around and this and that, right? And then even the referee came up to me before I was going on. He goes, "Are you okay? Are you going to be able to fight?" So I sat there and I prayed. I go, Lord, don't let my feet fail me now. That's exactly. I go, you know best. Just give me the thing. I started to bounce around, and Coach Peter came in there. He looks at me. He goes, just like that. He goes, I start bouncing around. He goes, all right. I go, don't ask. Let's just go. Right. I go outside. Rosie's, my wife's, hey, you okay? I start bouncing around. Everybody's just like, whatever. It's just me, right? I said, if I can walk, if I can move, right? I've fought. Technically, I'm still have those fresh in my mind. I'm going to be able to do this, because it was very important for me to go full circle back to Korea, because that's, because of my master instructor. That was my homage for, all those years, not being in Korea, not being able to go 2 times to Korea Open before. I was invited. I couldn't go because I couldn't leave 3 weeks, and so that was always my thing is, and, luckily, some of us by our own teammates, we just put on, it's okay, let's put on a good show. Let's not get hurt. Let's just, let's go for it and then walk away. Right. He had a little bit of an injury too. So luckily, it worked out the way it was supposed to work out. I think the best part of that trip for me was when we went and trained with the Korean contingency. Right. And
Taekwondo co-op.
Yeah. And and
you got out there too. You got out there again.
Well, Coach B was like, "How come you didn't do that in the tournament?" I said, "Well, I saw a Korean flag, bro. I'm sorry. It's going to change things. I'm going to throw my sacrifices a little tougher,
Listen, but everything that you're saying right now, and it's such an important lesson that, for myself, it's inspirational for me. It should be inspirational for anyone that, no matter what we go through in life, it cannot deter our passion, whether it's Taekwondo, whether it's a sport, a job, a hobby. We have to do what we love, and we have to do it surrounded by the right people. I mean,
for sure.
For me, when I got to Korea and knowing what you had gone through, everything you had passed, I took that inspiration with me in the ring. You helped without even realizing, and that's the beauty of what we do. Like, we don't realize sometimes who we inspire and what we inspire. You inspired me to get out there and do what I did in Korea, because I'm like, man, this guy, how can I put it, bro? It's a reality of life that sometimes we have to take a step back, and when we see other people going through what they're going through, we have to be like, man, what the hell am I complaining about? What the hell am I? Yeah. You know what I mean?
And, definitely.
And that's what, me personally, that's what pushed me. And I know I wasn't alone in that. You've inspired so many without even purposely doing it, and that's huge.
That was my I wasn't doing it for the medals anymore, I was just doing it for, if I can inspire one person to just change their mind about something in their life that's not good, or they're having a trouble with something, or whatever, or hey, I want to reach this goal, right? I remember in Italy, how great you were moving, and I know you wanted it so bad, and in Korea, I wanted it so bad for you even more. And I was so happy. That was like a joyful thing for me to see, because it was kind of a mirror of how I do things. I always go back and I'm like, I'm going to get this thing. And I remember we talked about it. And the first thing you said when we left Italy's like, oh, I'm coming back and I'm getting this. And I believed you 100% because I knew just from just the way you talk to me. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
pretty good judge of character. I can tell when someone's really going to mean it. And I'm the same way. If I say I'm going to do something, I'll do it, no matter how long it takes me, you know? And I said I was going to go to Korea, and I got there a one-legged butt kicking contest, right?
Right.
I mean, that was me. And yeah, nothing should stop you. I always tell them, till the wheels fall off, man. If I have a thread hanging of fiber, I'm there, you know?
We're going.
And I remember now, of course, um, I'm still in my mentality. Still, okay. I'm still gonna get back. I'm not gonna be. I'm not. It's like I'm inspiring to go to the Olympics or something. I'm just saying I'm going back. I just want to be able to train and move and just let it go back to a normal. For me, normalcy is, our family kicks together, stays together, and that was my philosophy. And I have to do it for my health, and I'm just a better person. I'm the real me when I'm training than when I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm a little bit out of my element still because I'm not, able to do it at this moment yet. We're almost there, and we're going to start. I'm healthy enough to do it now, but I never give up here. I'm always here and here. I'm once I put my mind to it,
Sure.
I'm going to do it to the last day I breathe, and that's the bottom line. Not to be. I always wanted people to know that I'm not doing this for any kind of glory. I'm not doing it because I should have, just because that happened to my daughter or my dad, and I didn't get, because I knew I was very close to, I was very close to making team. I would have gone to Olympic Training Center if I wasn't married and had a job, and I probably would have done all that. My situation was so different, and I think.
Sure.
I believe that God's plan was that for me, and I was able to last. I saw so many people come and go.
Right.
I
And
saw
you were
20
still
some year olds,
there.
yeah, they're saying, hey, I'm retiring. I'm like, how old are you? I'm 23. I'm like, okay, I just got started at 25 or 6, right? So, but
Mm-hmm.
that's okay because sometimes miles matter too, right? It's the miles,
Sure.
it's not the age. And so, yeah, I'm very happy that I was able to go to Korea, and now I coach some of the players, and I come to the cup. Everybody gets
Mm-hmm.
together. It's probably one of the best times for us, as it just kind of takes us out of this funk we're in, trying to get this place
Sure.
together, and it's almost like it's not about the fight anymore. It's about the camaraderie and togetherness
Yeah.
and supporting, and I've had a lot of influence on some of the people that were stuck in certain situations, and I would be in their ear. I'm like, come on, you got to do it like this, or take the
Mm-hmm.
step, and now they're benefiting from it, and I love it. I love to see other people succeed. There's a lot. I know there's some people that don't like that. They're actually the opposite. But I
That's
love
not
to
who we
see,
are.
not
That's not
us.
who we
I
are.
love to
Not
see
us.
people. If you succeed, it's like I said. When you won, it's like I won.
Yes.
And that's just me. That's just always been like that. I've always pulled for people. I want to do it fairly too. I don't want to do dirty.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate when people try to pull dirty stuff. I always, I felt like it's gonna take away from my being doing things a proper way because that's the way I was trained. And there's no room for it. And I know there's a lot of talk about different things of how things are and things like that. But you know what? There's still a bunch of young people that still have a good head on their shoulder, that still really want it and still appreciate, the groundwork that's been laid for them. So we need to support those people.
Yes.
And we got to make sure that the other poison doesn't poison those people. You know what I'm saying? Those
Mm-hmm.
kids. So that's just my take on, the new versus old and all these things, that we hear about all the time. Yes, I agree. Some of the things, of course, it doesn't need to be said. We see it, right? We see it. Believe me, the people that are doing it know it. They see it.
Right.
I fought in every chest guard and every foot gear era. Okay, I think I told you that
Mm-hmm.
I had medals in one tournament and during 4 decades. You know what I mean? And like legitimate ones, not just I'm showing up
Mm-hmm.
and I'm kicking your shin. And so um, If I wasn't ready, I would never show up either. I used to train all hours of the night after work, it didn't just happen magically,
It's a dedication,
For sure.
and as we move forward, and you've had a career that is not over. Your book is not done. Your book is not.
Not when there's Italy in the schedule. It's not.
There
we're
you
going.
go.
We're going back to Italy, by the way. Just so you know, no matter what.
From your mouth to God's ears.
Listen, if I have to hold your chair and move you around, I'm telling you.
And that's the beauty of this journey, this black belt journey. It's one that there's no end in sight, and moving forward, my man Cy, what do you want to leave our audience with? Give us a nice little token of inspiration for anyone looking to move forward, anyone that's coming from a hard situation. Give a nice little inspiration.
Okay, well, first thing I want to say is don't let anybody tell you what can be done and what can't be done, because it's very easy. Critics are dime a dozen, right? You can go on the paper. There's critics. They talk about this and that. Well, these people are working so hard at things, right? So you're your best critic, right? So if you believe in your heart of hearts, that you're going to do something and you can, that you can do it, then do it. Just do it. Just like Nike's, just do it. And why would you pull back and, oh man, I could have, should have, would have. That's me. I've had like 3 careers in the sport, just this sport. And I played a lot of years of football, I was hitting some big guys. But that's what pushed me to get stronger, better. I knew I can handle it because I gave myself that dose of reality that if I want to do this, if A, then I got to do this. B, I have to do it. I can't just show up and want to be, right? Or complain about anything, judges or what the weather was like or whatever, right? So I think that when it comes down to, let's say you're trying to overcome something, to answer your question in a better light, I would say never give up. That's my family's traditional, line that we use. My family, the Zamanis, we never give up. Never give up. As a matter of fact, Jito Kwan, which is my master's Kwan, that Oktugi is like his translation was you hit it and it always comes back. And I'm like, oh, perfect. That's me.
There you go.
Do it. My father used to say, do it an honest way, the right way. And it's the harder way, but at the end, it's going to be always the best way, right?
Right.
Your rewards are going to be better. Do it with integrity. And if you're going through something, look to those people that are going to be for you, that they're going to be there for you. Don't listen to the negativity. One of the things when I had cancer, the first thing the doctor told me is you have to not have stress. I'm like,
right.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, doc. Yeah.
Easier said than done.
Yeah. Don't have stress. Try to limit your stress, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the second doctor, when I got with the cancer, he told me, your healing was due to your training. Because of your Taekwondo.
Wow.
Because I told him this is what happened and this is how he goes, oh yeah, that's exactly the reason why you healed so fast. So I'm grateful that I had Taekwondo in my life, because I might not be sitting here talking to you right now. You know what I mean? People take it for granted. Both times they say, oh, this is the cancer you want. It's the slowest growing. I said, who wants cancer? What do you mean?
Who wants
it's the one I want. But I'm grateful that it was, and I'm grateful that I had Taekwondo, and I was grateful that, as a matter of fact, the first time I got the surgery, I got sick for 2 times in a row in 2 weeks. It's literally something your body's fighting it. So I was fighting these fights, fighting myself too. I didn't know. I felt it afterwards,
Our greatest opponent in life is always ourselves.
Right. The cancer cells what I've been understanding is it's a stagnation of the blood. Wherever it stops, that's creating this like bruise almost. That's where the tumors start. So what's the best thing for the body? Circulation. What's good for circulation?
Exercise.
Pasha! Right?
That's it.
You're hitting your internal system. It makes total sense. If I hadn't done martial arts, I would never understand any of that. you know?
Right.
So yes, martial arts, I think some martial arts is better than no martial arts. I hear jujitsu and kickboxing. So if you're doing martial arts and you're not, you're better off always doing martial arts, some type of martial arts. I think for kids, the best thing you ever do for your children, you know that. I can go on and on and on about the things you can do, but I'd like to give one straight point about, how would you get motivated, or what can they do to, just never give up, always follow your goals, regardless to even if you're at terminal cancer and you're gonna die tomorrow, do what you love, and every day counts, and that's it. Every kick counts, right? Every kick counts. Everything. Yeah, be a Terminator, not a spectator. That's right. JJ used to tell me.
My man Cy, my brother, my fratello, it was a pleasure having you on tonight. Please give a big hug and kiss to someone that I know is in that house right now. You
Absolutely.
Give that woman, Miss Rosie, big shout out to Miss Rosie. You give her a big hug and kiss for me.
You too. You give my familia big hugs and kisses. Send them my sincere love.
Salud.
This is for the next Italy trip.
I'm
gonna stay up till we get there.
With that being said,
by the way, shout out to the Masters team right now in Taiwan.
Yes.
You guys go get it. We're here in heart and spirit. Mm-hmm. We want to be there, but we are there with you.
We're always there.
Always there, and they're just an extension of us.
Yeah.
And
some great things.
Absolutely.
Things.
Sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to put that out there. I don't want them to think we didn't think about it.
My man, if there's anyone in this world that can interrupt me, it's you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There you go. With that being said, thank you everyone for tuning in to another episode of A Black Belt Way of Life. Make sure, follow us, check us out wherever you consume podcasts. Leave us a comment, shoot us a message. If you would like to sponsor A Black Belt Way of Life, send us an email at A Black Belt Way of Life podcast@gmail.com. To our show sponsor, Mr. Joseph Ferrone of Weichert Realty. For all your real estate needs, both commercial and residential, make sure to check them out in our show notes. Best Martial Arts, Muto USA. For all your martial arts needs, his info is in the show notes. Again, Kick Fit for this awesome looking shoe I got over here in this color, and I got this awesome nice black and white, a little nice simple one over here, always looking good. BBWOL at checkout for the discount. And the most important part of this podcast, for everyone watching, remember those words my father always said: your black belt is worn around your heart, never your waist. Have a good night.
Love you, brother. Appreciate you.
Love you.
Love you too.
A Black Belt Way of Life was produced by Press Record Studios.